All right, everyone, welcome to Klal Yisroel in partnership with Breslov.org and, of course, Yeshiva Acharei Shimon. And, it's hope everyone had a wonderful Pesach for all the B'nai Chutz La'aretz. Today is Isru Chag, which is special, right? It's a special day. And today is the 8th day of the Omer, right? Today is the day of Chesed Shebegvura, right? So we were learning this morning in our shir. We learned from a sefer called Usfartem Lachem. It's a beautiful sefer written by Rav Daniel Frisch. He's the author of the Parish on the Zohar, Matuk Midvash, which is an amazing job that he did. And he taught us something so beautiful today, which I'm going to share with you, when it comes to the Midah of Gvura, Chesed Shebegvura. Right, so we're in the week of Gvura, but today is the and each one of the midos, spheros, has within it all 7, right? And that's how you get your 49, right? Because you have 7 groups of 7. 7 times 7 is 49. So today is the first midah of Gevura, which is Chesed. So if we take a look and we see the beautiful amount of Chesed that Hashem has in the world, the plentiness that we have of food, perhaps that the world's never seen before, and the beauty of just the world is beautiful, right? You see the mountains and you see the flowers, and it's now the springtime. We're in the Chodesh Aviv, right? We're in the springtime, and you see everything blooming, and you see everything is so magnificent, and a person has to ask himself, Hashem is giving me so much in my life as well. Hashem gives me so much in my life. We know Chazal say that Hashem makes sure to give to the Rishayim, the wicked ones, their reward in this world, so therefore they won't have anything in the next world. And a person has to ask himself, is that what's going on in my life? Do I have so much because Hashem doesn't want to hear from me, Chas v'sholom, in the next world? No, of course not. Of course, we daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're maminim b'nei maminim. And of course, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us plenty because we ask HaKadosh, we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu for it. And but when you use the midah of Chesed, you realize the plentiness in the world, and then you have the Gvura, the judgment, the din, that you realize, is it coming to me, or is HaKadosh Baruch Hu? You come to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu when you realize how much Hashem is giving me. He gives us, gives Amcha Beis Yisrael, gives the entire world. So you only come to love the Rabbeinu Shalom. And then this is something connected that we're going to see in the Parsha right now. This is the Parsha of Acharei Mos. Okay, we usually read Acharei Mos Kedoshim, right? Okay. But this year we're reading Acharei Mos. And we're going to learn from the Sefer Tiv HaTorah, which is an amazing Sefer. And we're going to quote a pasuk in the Parsha. And the pasuk says like this: "V'chipa al hakodesh mitumas b'nei Yisrael u'mipesheihem," right? Mipesheihem, right? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu will forgive the v'chipa al hakodesh mitumas b'nei Yisrael, the holies, on the impurity of b'nei of Klal Yisroel, and mipesheihem, and on their willful sins, chatasam. Fascinating words. Hashem dwells with us amidst our tumah, our impurity. Rashi says, look at Rashi. Perish Rashi, Hashoichen itam b'soich tumasam, afal pi shehem temeim Shechina beineim. Wow. Even though we are impure, the Shechina is with us. Is that not such comforting words? To know that the Shechina never leaves us? One of the greatest vices, of the Yetzer Hara is to tell a person, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you know that, and because you did these things wrong, Hashem isn't with you, you know that. Nonsense. The Torah is saying, Hashoichein itam b'soich tumasam. Rashi comes to say, Afal pi shehem temeim Shechina beineim. It's amazing. Mamish, these are the most beautiful words that we can grab onto. Of course, we want to be pure. Of course, we always want to be pure. And we're going to learn about this right now. Look what he says. Gam bizman sheYisrael tameim. Even the time when Jews find themselves impure. Ein ha-Shechina pareshes mehem. The Shechina does not separate from us. Uli olam ha-Shechina shoyra b'ayil mayit. The Shechina is always in the Ayil Mayit. And we know that every Beis HaMedrash is a Migdash Ma'at. Every Beis HaKnesset is a Migdash Ma'at. And the Shechina was in the Ayil Mayit. The Shechina stays with us, mamish. We know when 10 Jews get together, the Shechina comes there. We bring the Shechina together. V'zeu gam mashmois hadavar shetuma hutra b'tzibur. Fascinating din. The Gemara brings this in multiple places. Kamuva b'shas b'kama makaymas. The most famous place is in Masechtas Pesachim on Daf Ayin Zayin Amid Aleph, right? Where the Gemara talks about over there the Hainu she'efsheli likorev korban tzibur gam b'tumah. You can bring. The Gemara is discussing. Can you bring if the tzibur, if the community is impure? Can you still bring a carbon on behalf of the tzibur? La'akriv carbon tzibur gam b'tumah. V'zois mishum she'atumah einay mafsekes bein Yisrael aviyan shebashamayim. The tumah does not make a separation. It doesn't stop. It's not mafsek. There's no stop between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Amcha Beis Yisrael, the Jewish people. V'ein ha-migdash mekabel tumah ba'atzmosai. The migdash itself does not become defiled. You can't defile the Beis HaMikdash. You can't defile the Mishkan. Kishem she'ein divrei Torah mekablim tumah. The same way, divrei Torah, right? We know that Klei Kodesh, right? Klei Kodesh is not mekabel tumah. Klei Kodesh is not mekabel tumah. A Sefer Torah, even if somebody is impure and touches the Sefer Torah, it does not do anything to the Sefer Torah. The Torah stays pure. Has nothing to do with it. It's an amazing idea to understand this, that there's a concept of Tumah Hutra B'tzibur. If everybody is impure, then everyone is pure. It's fascinating. Okay, now, the Gemara talks about this idea that Ein Divrei Torah Mekablim Tumah in Masechta Brachas on Daf Chav Beis Amid Aleph. Now, V'yadua, Shema Shehu Bechlal Hu Gam Kein B'Prat. We know the way it works. If something works in the Klal, so it also works in the Prat. If it works in general, it works in specifics also. Shamnam, Koicha Hashlili, Shel Aveira, Hi Lahavi Tuma Chamura Ala Adam Hachoite. What is the whole purpose of the Yetzer Hara causing a person, seducing the person to do an Aveira? It's in order to bring Tumah, strong impurity, on the person that sinned. Right? Dainu, Sheshoira Olav Ruach HaTumah. Now there is hovering over this person, the shoira on this person, a ruach of tumah. Okay? The person should know. Every single Jew should know this. Ki Yisrael afal pi shechata Yisraelu. The Gemara says in Sanhedrin, even though a Jew sins, he still has the title of a Jew. A Jew that sins is still a Jew. L'maris hatuma shehevi al atzmai b'ikvos ha'achet. Because he even despite the amount of tumah he brought upon himself, despite that he brought tumah upon himself, he's still a Jew. Adayin hashchina shoyra b'kirbay. The Shechina is inside the person. Rabbi Zushi, is this not amazing? Is this not an amazing concept?
Yeah, it really is. The idea, like what Rabbi Nachman says, at least when we're confused, at least when we're down in the negative, we have to remember that one thing, that at least we're a Jew. And that's
it.
Helped me out so many times when I've just...
But this is even, but this statement here, that even though the person sinned, the Shechina does not leave the person. His neshama is there. Look what it says. Adayin hashchina. Look at the words. Adayin hashchina shoyra b'kirbo. The Shechina is still inside of him. Shalai mistalekes hashchina li'olam af echad meYisrael. The Shechina doesn't leave any Jew. No Jew. The Shechina is with the person. It's amazing. Mamish amazing. You learn this out from the Gemara. It's amazing. Now look at this. V'lechein yochel kol echad lizvadois al chatov. Any single Jew can say vidui. What is vidui? Vidui is confession. Any single Jew can always say confession. Lahachalit ben rega. Right? To make right? Ki hu oizev mikan ve'elech es masav hashlilim v'shav v'rofaloi. If he says he makes a commitment, you know what? I'm done. I don't want to do this again. Hashem, I don't want to do this again. I did this wrong, whatever the thing was that I did wrong. Whatever it was. I'm done. I don't want to do it again. V'shav. Look what it says. If he comes back, v'rofalei. He has a refuah. It's amazing. Beautiful chizuk. Ki kfar hichtir aisanu akasav b'toya ben. The Torah is calling us ben, a child. We're HaKadosh Baruch Hu's child. The same way a child that makes a mistake, and he comes to his father and he says, Father, I made a mistake. What father would not take the child back with open arms? Of course. No matter what, the child comes to the father, he says, Tati, I made a mistake. Abba, I made a mistake. Daddy, I made a mistake. Whatever you call your father. Pop, whatever. I made a mistake. Of course, the father's going to take him back. Of course. So, of course, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is calling us a ben. He's calling us his child. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Avinu Malkeinu. It's Avinu Malkeinu, not Malkeinu Avinu. Right? It's not Malkeinu Avinu. Hashem's the Melech and our father. No, Hashem is our father that happens to be the king. Right? Hashem is Hashem, the king is only describing that he's our father. He's the king, but first he's our father. Hakosa b'toya ben, bonim atem la'Hashem elekeichem. Hashem says, you're my children, bonim, all of you. Amcha beis Yisrael, every single Jew is considered a ben of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'haben b'kol matzoi v'asher yiyah. And a child, no matter what situation he finds himself in, he's never sent away from his father. If a child believes and that his father loves him, can you hear these words? If a child believes that the father loves him, then he will always be connected to his father. You understand? The father's love is always there. The father's love is always there. I'll tell you something beautiful. Did you hear there was a someone named Eov? You heard of Eov? He was a Navi. Eov. You heard of Eov? No? Okay, it's worth it to hear this story. David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Kirachem of Albanim. Kirachem of Albanim. Like the compassion, the mercy a father has to his child. Now, Eov read this and he thought, let's see. Wouldn't you say that a mother has more compassion on a child than a father? Right? Seemingly, Reb Zusha, would you say that in general a mother would be more compassionate than a father?
Right. We sing my Yiddish mama, not my Yiddish father.
Right. Okay. So, there we go. So listen to this. So Eov decided he wants to try this out. He wants to try it out. So listen to what he does. So Eov goes and he finds a village, and he finds a family in the village. They have a little like a bungalow, nothing nothing extravagant. They're very simple, poor people. He knocks on their door and he says, I'm traveling and I need a place to stay. Can you give me a place to stay? So they said, listen, we don't really have much room, but you need a place to stay, of course. They said, we have there's a barn outside. We'll make you up a bed, whatever we can, like we have. We use some straw, right? We'll make you up a nice bed. We'll put a piece of burlap down, and that'll be your bed. He said, fine. Now I want you to know, Eov was a very wealthy man. He was a very wealthy man. And they said, you could stay here. All right, then. And then it came time for dinner. So they invited him into the house. And they were sitting down on the table. There were 10 children. 10 children. And they had a big loaf of bread. And they gave a little piece of bread to everyone. And now Eov was there, so they had to give him a piece too. All right. They all ate whatever their little portion was. All right. And Eov thanked them very much, and he went to the place and he went to sleep. Okay, fine. The next morning, he gets up and he sees the mother sending off the children. They're sending off the children to Cheder, right, to the school, and she gives each one a little piece of bread, something to take along. That's his food for the day. He was so broken. Eov was he was broken to see this, that these children, beautiful children, they didn't have what they needed. They didn't have enough money. They didn't have the money to support them. So when they went off, Eov said like this. He went to the mother. The father had gone to work, or whatever he had to do. So Eov spoke to the mother. He says like this. He says, look, I see that you have 10 children. You have 10 children. It's wonderful. He says, but I also see that you don't have the means in order to support these children. I have an idea. He says, I would like to have a child myself, he says. So how about this? I'll give you a large sum of money. I don't know, let's say I'll give you 1,000 gold coins. Let's say that's the amount of money. Let me have one of your children. I will take care of your child as if he's my own child. I will always provide for him. I will give him an education. I will treat him with the finest of the finest. And this way, all the other children you'll have enough money that you'll be able to support the other children, and they'll also have what they need. Wow. The mother thinks about this, and the mother said, I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't know, I can't, I don't know which child I would give you, I don't know. So he says, okay, you could think about it. Right, so the next day, came that night, and they all came home, and this night they only had a half a loaf of bread. They didn't even have as much as they had the night before. I guess the father didn't do as good today. Right? So they split up the bread again to everybody. Okay. And of course, Eev is there, so they give him a piece also. All right. Now, came then for the morning again, and the mother had nothing to give for the children. Nothing. There was nothing in the house. Nothing. She felt terrible. She felt terrible that there's nothing to give my child. You know what she did? Eev came to her again, and Eev said, again, I made you that offer, and I would love if you were to take me up on this offer, and you were to let me have the ability to raise one of your children, and that'll be well cared for, and I will give you the gold coin so you'll be able to take care of the rest of your children, and everyone will be taken care of. She said, you know what? I had enough. I can't live this way anymore. Fine. You could take our youngest child. Okay. She gets the youngest child, and she explains to the youngest child, this nice man here is a big tzaddik. You're gonna go with him, and he's gonna take care of you, and he's always gonna make sure you have what you need to eat, and he'll make sure you have nice clothing and shoes, and he'll make sure that you get a good education. Of course, he'll teach you a lot of Torah. So the young boy said, okay, Mommy, if you think that's a good idea, okay. So she packed up the few things he had, put in a little bag, and the little boy went off with Eev. Eev gave the mother the 1,000 gold coins, and Eev went on. The mother was delighted. She never saw so much money in her whole life. So the mother took a coin and she went to the market. And she couldn't believe how much she was getting for this one gold coin in the market. She wound up buying potatoes, and she wound up getting eggs, and she got meat, and she got fish. Oh, it was amazing. She got fruits. She came home. She prepared a most lavish, beautiful dinner for the family. Could you imagine? They had roast beef, and they had fresh bread, and not that dry bread that they normally got, the second day bread. And she made them beautiful rice and potatoes. and she cut up fruit for a salad for the dessert. And the father came home, and the children all came home, and they couldn't believe what they saw. And there were candles burning in the house. They couldn't believe this. The father said, what happened? How did we afford all of this? What happened? She said, the Navi that was here, Eov, that he was here, and he made me a deal that I can give him one of our children, and he'll take very good care of him. He'll make sure that he's raised well, and he has a good Torah values and good midos and everything else. And he gave me 1,000 gold coins, so that way we would have enough money for all the other 9 children and for us. So he would be taken care of, and they would be taken care of. Everyone will be taken care of. It's a wonderful thing. The father hears it and he says, "What? Which child did he give him?" I gave him the youngest one. What? How's he going to think when he thinks about what you did? That he was a one of 10 children, and you gave him away to somebody for money? That's impossible. That's impossible. Long term, that's going to be terrible. It'll be detrimental to him. He said, "Where did he go?" She said, "He left. He went up the road." The father says, "Okay, wait here." The father runs as fast as he can. The father has no horse. He has no means of trade. He's running as fast as he could. And about an hour or so later, he winds up catching up. He winds up catching up with him. Oh, and he gives him a good nishaberach. And he said, "What did you do? What did you do? You took my child? I don't agree with this. Come and take your money back. I want my child back. I'm not masking to this. This was a mekach toyus. This was something that I'm not in agreement to." And he took the child back. He took the child back. And he came back. And Eov said, "I understand what David HaMelech was saying. Kirachim of albanim." Yes, the mother has compassion for now. She sees the situation. Women have bina. They have intuition. They have an intuition. But the father has compassion that's long-term compassion. And that's what it means that we are banim atem la'Hashem Elokeichem. We are HaKadosh Baruch Hu's children. Va'ben b'chol matzav asher yeh einay me'rochoik me'al shulchan aviv. He's never sent away from his father's table. V'zeh chizuk v'idud l'chol adam ba'asher hu. This is a chizuk that I'm giving you here. Listen to these words. And this is an advice that every Jew can take. Ki gam im nafal l'shol tachtiyas. Even if you found that you're mamish in the pit of depth, the depth of the pit of impurity, l'shol tachtiyas, you're in the pit of hell. V'yored l'dyoitach tachtoinet achas v'sholem be'ikvus chatov. And you fell to the lowest level because of the sin. Mikol mokaim yoda v'yamin. I need you to know this. You need to know and believe these words. Sheshum pe'ula einay mafsekes es hakesher hanitzchi im habayri. There is no sin, no action you can do to sever the ties that you have, the eternal ties that you have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'hanitak nira lanu rak biglal ha'aveira shehi kisomach kemesach hamavdal. And the disconnect that we feel sometimes, we feel a disconnect, only comes about because of the separations that we set up, that divide us between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's only because of those separate, because of the sin, causes that. It causes a separation, but Hashem is still there with you on the inside of the separation. But you don't realize it. Ava berega, listen to these words. Shechina b'tshuva. At that moment that you come back and you make tshuva. What is tshuva? Hashem, I'm sorry I did this. I'm sorry, Hashem. We have to be big enough. A person can't be arrogant. He can't be a Baal Gaiva. In other words, if you can only do this if a person is a humble person, to be willing to say, I made a mistake, Hashem. You don't have to tell it to anybody. You tell it to the Rabbeinu Shalem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there. He knows it anyway. Now, don't you understand something? As soon as a person says they're sorry to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as soon as a person admits that he's sorry to Hashem, then the Satan, he goes to Hashem and he says, Hashem, this guy over here, you know what he did? And Hashem says, of course I know what he did. He already told me. What news are you coming to tell me? He already told me what he did. What are you coming to tell me? I already know. And the Sitracha goes away with his tail between his legs. He's embarrassed. He thought he had some juicy information to give to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, he already told it to me. That's what vidui is. That's what confession is. We say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I made a mistake. It doesn't matter what it was that you did wrong. You say, Hashem, I'm sorry, I did this thing wrong, I'm sorry. The Rambam says in Hilchos Teshuva, you have to say, I'm sorry. Look at these words. Virega shechina b'tshuva, mistalekes hamechitza. That barrier that you thought was separating you from Hashem disappears. It disappears. There's no more barrier. V'az yara yirei nechon nechoicho shekosher im haboirei hu nitzchi. Then you realize that that bond that you have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu is eternal. V'tamid yachal ha'adam loshav bikur machsavtai. A person can come no matter where he finds himself. He can come back. Liknais aylamai b'shah achas. He can be kind of his world in one moment. B'shah achas. How does he do that? I say I'm sorry. I could just say I'm sorry. The same way when the Kohen Gadol went on Yom Kippur, right? This parsha we talk about Yom Kippur, right? Acharei Mos is all the things of Yom Kippur, all the things we redo, the Seder Avodah of Yom Kippur. Everything's found in here, word for word. The Kohen Gadol would say for the Jewish people, Chotu, they made a mistake. B'shein, they were made willful mistakes. Avon they did other kind of sins. It didn't matter. A blanket statement works also. Of course, it's much better if you know you did something wrong, that you should always say, I'm sorry to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're learning in the morning in Likutei Halachos. Every morning, we're learning Baruch Hashem. We have a beautiful Chabura every morning here in Efrat, after the Nate's Minyan, Baruch Hashem. And we have people, participants, literally from all over the world that listen to the class, Baruch Hashem. We're learning now Hilchos Kriya Shema in the morning. That's what we're learning. And we're learning something so beautiful. I mean, so amazing. You know, when it comes to Kriya Shema, I'll tell you like this. Chazal tell us there are two aspects that you have to know about Shema. What are they? One, that you have to hear what you say. In other words, the words you're saying, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, have to be audible, that you can hear it yourself. You have to say the words. You can't be thinking the words. You have to say the words. Then the second thing is, You have to understand Hashemeya. You have to be able to hear and understand what you're saying. You understand? You have to be able to hear and understand the words. It's not good enough to read Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad if you don't understand it. Right? It's not good enough. You could say it in any language that you understand it. Any language you understand, so long as you say those words. Hear, O Israel, God Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, the God of mercy, Elokeinu. He's the same God as Elokeinu. He's the same God of judgment, of punishment. He's the same God. Hashem, that same Hashem, the Hashem of mercy, Echad, He's one. He's one. What does it mean He's one? There's no separation. There's no God of mercy and kindness and a God of... No, it's one Hashem. It's only Hashem. You have to know those words. Now, Rav Nosson brings it's a beautiful understanding that, when it comes to Lashon HaKodesh, right? It's a holy language. Lashon HaKodesh is a holy language. There's no impurity found in Lashon HaKodesh. It's a pure language. When it comes to the nations of the world, the 70 nations of the world, the 70 nations, those languages are impure. When it comes to Targum, Aramaic, it's 50-50. 50-50. Right? 50-50. What does that mean? Because the Targum, Rav Nosson explains to us, is like the Eitz Hadas Tov Ra. Eitz Hadas Tov Ra. The Eitz Hadas Tov Ra, the tree of good and bad. You have in the Eitz Hadas Tov, good, Ra, bad. Aramaic has within it properties, good properties and bad properties. Bad properties is what Rav Nosson explains to us, is how the Chachmei HaTeva, all of the professors of the world that profess that it's all nature, it's not Hashem, they'll find you proofs that there's no Hashem, they'll find you proofs, this nonsense, mamish nonsense. They get their ability from the Aramaic, the Targum. But on the other hand, Talmud Bavli, our oral law, is written in Aramaic as also. The Zohar Kadosh, the Holy Zohar, is written in Aramaic. And what about the Kaddish we say every day? Yiskadal v'yiskadash shemei Rabba. V'omla devarach chirusei v'amlich malchusei v'yatzmach perkonei v'koy. These words are Aramaic. Do you know that those words are the holiest words? They're holy. Those are the holiest words. You know why those are the holiest words? Because you're taking those words that the Chachmei HaTeva use, and you're using that same language to show how great Hashem is. So you're using their language to show how great Hashem is. And that's how Rav Nosson says we can shut them up. That's how we can get... There's so much noise in the world now. There's so much noise on all the campuses, with all the governments, with South Africa, with all of the countries. They have something to say. How do you shut them up? Omer Yehei Shmei Rabba Mivarach Li'olam V'Omer Yomaya Yizbarach. You say that with all your heart. You say that with all your might. And that puts a damper on all of their garbage. That's what shuts them up. Not going and making another hafkana. Not going out there and I'm going to go protest against them. Nonsense. Go to shul, answer a kaddish. You understand? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, we're supposed to say Kriya Shema before we go to bed. Right? Kriya Shema before we go to bed. Why is that? Because if I say Kriya Shema, and I say word by word, and I don't rush my words, I say each word carefully. I say like the words, B'chol Levavecha, not B'chol Levavcha. Some people read it quick, it says B'chol Levavcha. No, it's two separate words. The Zohar says that you wind up cooling the fires of Gehenna. When you say the words of Kriya Shema, you say them and you say them benachas. You don't rush. You enjoy each word. Rav Nosson teaches us that really you're supposed to have every word of your tefillah. You're supposed to remember every single word. Every single word you're supposed to remember. You know why? Each word is another beautiful, precious flower. Each word is a beautiful, precious flower of our tefillah. When I finish davening shacharis in the morning, and I started with Moda Ani, and I end the shacharis with Hashem Elokei, Hashem Ushmaya, Hashem Echad Ushmaya Echad, with Aleinu. All those words in between are beautiful flowers. And I create a beautiful bouquet from all my words. A beautiful bouquet. A beautiful bouquet. Another way we understand it is Keser. On Shabbos, those that daven Sfard, I feel so sad for those people that daven Ashkenaz. I do. I'm sorry. They don't get to say Keser. They don't give Hashem the crown. They're not giving HaKadosh Baruch Hu a crown. It says there's a Malach Metatrin. There's one Malach Metat, that's his name. A Malach, a great Malach. And what he does is he takes the words of our tefillahs and he ties the words into a beautiful crown. And then, when we say, Keser Yidnu L'cha Hashem Elokeinu Malachim Amonei Mala, right? What is the crown that they're giving us, Hashem up on high? The words of our tefillah. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Hashem wants to be crowned with our tefillahs, with our words. He loves our words. He loves our words. So Rav Nosson asks a question: If all the languages of the world are impure, how can I then say the Shema with a language that's impure? You understand the question? So Rav Nosson answers something amazing. We know that there's elikus in everything in the world. There's godliness, a spark of godliness in everything in the world. For the world to exist, you must have holiness, right? So Rav Nosson says in the languages of the world, you also have holiness. You also have holiness. Of course there's holiness. If not, they couldn't exist. So when I say these words that Hashem is one, He's only one. It's only you, Hashem. And I use those languages, whatever language it is. But if I'm using the language for that, I'm extracting the good out of that language. When we learn Torah, we speak English. Or you're learning Torah, you speak French, or German, or Swahili, or whatever language you speak. But you're using the language in order to describe the greatness of Hashem. You're zapping the holiness out of that language. Because you're using the language. Rav Nosson uses the example of a forest. A forest knows the axe handle. The forest knows the axe handle. You know, an axe, right? An axe is dangerous, right? But an axe is only dangerous if it has a long handle. Right? If it has a long handle, you could swing the axe and do something. If there's no handle on the axe, what can it do? Nothing. Right? Piece of metal. Where did that, and what do you use an axe for to chop down a tree? Right? Where did the handle from that axe come from? The very forest. The very forest. That's what Rav Nosson explains how Targum works. You're taking the handle, the axe handle, from the forest, which is what the Aramaic, and you're knocking them all down. You're knocking all of the garbage that they're saying with the bad of the language, using their language itself. Amazing. You're using their language to defeat what they're trying to say. It's amazing. It's an amazing understanding, the analogy that we have. It's unbelievable to understand that I take the axe handle itself to knock them all down. That's the Omer Yehei Shmei Rabbah. That's the Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Rav Nosson teaches us Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchus Elyolam Voed. You know how many letters that is, Rav Zushit? You know how many letters that is? 49. 49. Did you know that? Take out your city, you'll count it, you'll see. 25 in Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. That's spelling out Hashem's name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Okay? Not like in the Siddur where they have a Yud Yud or whatever they do for Hashem's name. They make a little hey or whatever. No. You have to spell out Hashem's name. You'll see this 25 and 24. Rav Nosson explains to us the 25 is connected to the Metzach HaRotzen, the higher level of Metzach in Shemayim, the highest place, which is connected to Shabbos, the Raiva of Shabbos, when it comes to Mincha time on Shabbos, where which is Rotzen Shebarotzen. That's why when it comes to Shabbos, we say in the Mincha, Vani Tfilasi L'cha Hashem Eis Rotzon. Only by Mincha we say that, right? We say that by Mincha, right? Why do we say that by Mincha Shabbos? Because that's the Eis Rotzon. Rav Nosson says, in the lower Metzach, in Shemayim, there are 24 courthouses. Did you know that there are 24 courthouses up on high? 24 courthouses. Those 24 courthouses have 24 judges that are very angry. Why are they angry? Because down in the world, we're not always doing exactly what we're supposed to do. And they're judging. They're judging. Rabbi Nachman says that really it's important to get to, you have to know the judges in order to get through the courthouses. Right? Like today, you want to take a lawyer, you want to take somebody that the lawyer that goes golfing with the judge, he's friends with him, you want to be friends, you have to know the judge, right? There are certain tzaddikim that know certain judges in certain courthouses, but then Rabbi Nachman says, I know all the judges. Rabbi Nachman says, I know all the judges. That's why the Rebbe says, you come to me, and I'll get you. I'll pull you out by your payas from the shol tachtiyas. Rabbi Nachman says that. Come to me. Come to Uman. Say the tikkun hakloli. Put some money in the tzedakah. B'schus Rabbi Nachman ben Feig, b'schus Yogan Elaine. I want to say I'm saying the 10 chapters of Tehillim, which is connected to the 10 songs. The 10 songs, which is connected to the 10 pulses of our blood, which is connected to lesson 23 of Likutei Maran. We have the Esed Efikin, the 10 different kind of pulses. Where if a person's Molei Simcha, if you have Simcha in your life, that's the antidote, that's the refuah to any problem that a person has, is being Molei Simcha. How could you be Molei Simcha? Being connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you realize, no matter what I did wrong, Hashem is always with me. Hashem never leaves me. Hashem is always with me. I think in my mind that Hashem left me, but Hashem didn't leave me. I may have thought I left Hashem, but He never left me. Isn't that amazing? I may think He left me, but He never left me. It's amazing. It's mamash amazing. And if a person can be Molei Simcha, then the Yogain and Anacha will run away. In the place of Simcha, the Yogain and Anacha. What's Yogain and Anacha? The sorrow and the woe run away. It runs away. in the place of simcha. And then the person has simcha, like David HaMelech says. He says in Tehillim, Nasata simcha belibi. Hashem placed joy in my heart. What's so important about placing joy in your heart? Where does the blood get its? What's the source of blood transportation in the body? The heart. The heart pumps the blood, and that creates the 10 different pulses that goes through all the limbs and organs of the body. And when a person is molei simcha, he's full of joy, but he's davening with joy because he knows he's with Hashem, and Hashem wants to hear my words, and he wants to take my words and turn them into a beautiful, beautiful crown. Wow, it's a whole different davening. It's a whole different thing, a whole different life experience when you realize Hashem is mamish with me. I know Hashem is with me. I know he's with me. I may think he left me, but Hashem says in the Parsha, it's the most beautiful thing. Hashoichen itam b'soich tumoschem. You'll find this in the Parsha this week. It's in Perek, in Acharei Mais Perek Tes Zayin, Pasuk Tes Zayin. You'll look it up, you'll see it. It's mamish amazing. You'll look it up, you'll see it. The words are fascinating, fascinating words. Tes Zayin. Chapter 16 and verse 16. How do you like that? Look it up. See these words. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with us. So with this, we're going to start. We're going to end now. I want to thank you very much for joining. Anyone that's going to listen to the class, I thank you in advance. And anyone that ever has any questions on what we're learning, you can always find us. You can find me on the Breslov.org Facebook page. That's where I post all the classes on there. And you can always leave a comment. The shiurim are also on the BRI channel, and you can always leave a comment on the YouTube as well. In the YouTube, you can always leave a comment. My phone number is area code 516-851-8855. You're welcome to call me or send me a text message. Anyone needs to, I really understand this, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always with you. You may think he's not, but he's always there. And it's not difficult to do teshuva. It's not. All doing teshuva is saying, Hashem, I'm sorry I did this. Hashem, please help me, Hashem, that I don't do this again. And we should do this every single day before we go to bed. Kriya Shema Lamita. We say the Kriya Shema Lamita. We settle our account for the day. Because the chelik haneshama that we're sending off that day will never come back to the world again. That part of the neshama that was here today is only here today. When we send it off tomorrow, you get another chelik of your neshama comes down. Another part, another slice of your neshama comes in that day. And that's why it's so important every day before you go to sleep, you say the Kriya Shema Lamita. You say Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Baruch Shem Kivay Malchus Elim. I want to connect to the Metzach HaRotzon. I want to connect to that highest place. When I connect to the Metzach HaRotzon, I can bypass the courthouses. Wow. You could bypass the courthouses. That's even better than getting through the courthouses. You can get right around them. And you go straight to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because when we believe that Hashem is always with us. Like it says in the Parsha this week, I think this is one of the greatest messages we can get from this Parsha. To know that Hashem is always with us no matter what. And all we need to do is turn back and say we're sorry. Hashem, help me that I don't do that again. And then we could take down those barriers that we created via the sin itself. The barriers all fade away. And then you could feel it mamish, that you're with Hashem. You can have the simcha of knowing you're with Hashem. You can have refuah, you can have healing from any sickness that you're involved with, knowing you're with Hashem. because you fix your simcha. When you fix the simcha, you fix the 10 different pulses. That means the blood flows through each one of the organs properly, healthy. And then that brings the refuah. The greatest refuah we're waiting for is for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to send us Mashiach Tzidkenu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to send us the great Mashiach. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to bring us the Bayis Shlishi. And the Bayis Shlishi is going to be standing on the Temple Mount. And that building the same way when we do teshuva. The walls disappear. When Klal Yisroel does teshuva together, watch that stupid building standing on Har Bayis will just fall away. Will fade away. It'll fade away, and watch the Beis Hamikdash will be standing there. We all can do this. We have to believe. Hashem wants us to do this. Hashem wants us to all come back to Him. Hashem wants us all to do teshuva and all to come back to Him. This is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to do. He wants us all because Hashem is with us and Hashem is patient. Hashem is patient. But since we never know, we don't know how long, no one knows how long they're going to live. I always have to live with teshuva. I always have to be turning back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if I can live that way, like we say in the Shemona Esrei, Harot se b'shuva, right? Hashem wants teshuva. Harot se b'shuva. Slach lanu avinu ki chatanu. Mechal lanu makeinu ki fashon. Hey, Hashem, I sinned. I may have sinned willfully. Forgive me, Hashem. We're doing that in the Shemona Esrei. We say it in the Shemona Esrei. Hashem wants teshuva. That's one of the blessings, right? The next one we say, I believe Hashem forgives me. Isn't that amazing? Let us, mamish, walk away believing that. I wish everyone a wonderful Shabbos. You should feel the brachas of Shabbos. And the Mitzvah Hashem will meet again next week on Wednesday, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Israeli time. Everyone, I wish you all well. Kol Tuv.